Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Claret and Booze Cast. What is this, John? Episode 4?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, episode 4. We're a couple of days late because we had the game on Wednesday, so we've deferred it. So you're gonna be watching this on Friday. We're recording it on Thursday night. Gary is going to be flying out to the US on a jaunt, spending some of his bonus money that he's been telling us about. Any John?
It's really cheered me up.
It cheered me up and all. So he's going to be out there. Yeah, he's going to be going out to America for I think about 2 weeks. Is it?
It is 2 weeks. Yeah, he's probably packing now, isn't he? He's probably getting all ready.
Yeah, he was struggling earlier on. Got his Mickey Mouse
ears on. Got his Mickey Mouse ears ready and all that. Man.
He's going to love that, isn't he? Gary, because he's not patient. You know, Gary and queues don't work, and he's going to Disneyland with the kids. So,
no. Oh, no. Hang on. He's already paid for fast track for every day of his holiday.
Of course he has.
He's already thought of that.
Of course he has.
Nowhere, mate.
But filling in for Gary, probably ain't going to be the last request, Luke. So it might be a few more coming up. But thank you very much, Luke Bailey, a face you're all going to be familiar with. How are you, mate?
Not sure about that, but they might be familiar with me. But I'm okay. I'm okay. I've been, as people may know, I'm a new farmer, so yes. I'm picking and choosing and being very tactical with my YouTube time. And Nick has very kindly answered the message I sent him a week ago about a lost bet, and reacted to it, and then asked me at the time, do I want to come and help him out? So
I was It was two away. Go on, Luke.
I had a 17 fold for 17 grand, or around that. 17 grand and 3 games let me down.
It was West Brom versus Borough, and I'm looking at it now. And Everton at home to Aston Villa.
Yeah, that could have gone either way.
Yeah, mate, I would have backed Everton in that game, didn't you?
There was another one as well. I can't remember what the other one was, but I'm not too sure what it was now.
Oh, mate, that's a killer, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
be nice. You could have had another 3 months off work.
Or gone on holiday with Gary.
I couldn't afford that. That's beyond the question. Anyway, yes, thank you for inviting me on, guys. It's nice to be on again.
Yeah, nice to have you, mate. Nice to have you.
In case people are wondering, I am being quite monotone and quite quiet because
he's scared of his missus. I mean,
it's not the baby. He's worried about waking up people.
I think most people in the chat could probably relate to that. So yeah, that's why. Okay.
So you didn't pre-warn the better half that you was coming live then.
You messaged me at the right time, mate, when it was all going to be under secret and secret service sort of stuff.
On a down low, nice.
Yeah, get the text and hear the voices later. And then
I'll try not to roll you up tonight. Then I'll try not to trigger you off to get you to raise your voice.
No triggering.
Sure life.
But yes, so as you all know, look, the format of the show is we reach out to the community on Claret and Booze on YouTube, and we ask for questions. We've got around 9 questions. Somebody sent in a voice note as well, and I've got another one or two from Facebook and direct WhatsApp as well. So we'll run through those in a bit. But because we haven't got as many as what we normally do, I think what we'll do is we'll take the opportunity to talk about the game. I've spoken about it in some depth, but John has not, and neither has Luke, I don't think yet. So, John, over to you, mate. What did you think of the game on Wednesday night?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I was fairly positive with the game as a whole. Obviously, the result was disappointing, and the way we sort of lost it in those sort of last 10 or 15 minutes was very disappointing. But overall, I thought we played well. Yeah. I was happy with the way Paqueta and Benny were linking up. The Flair players were linking up well. Seemed to be linking up well. I thought Johnson had a good game. I mean, I'm quite surprised. Garnacho got man of the match, and I was a bit surprised about that because I thought Ben Johnson did well against him. If I'm honest,
I didn't think up until the goal, he got no change out of Johnson at all, did he?
I didn't think so. I don't know if I was watching another, but this is football. I mean, I've seen people on social media today absolutely slamming Johnson for his performance. Which, I mean,
why?
But it's all about opinions, football, isn't it? Let's be honest. But I mean, yeah, look, we created loads of chances. We should have been not out of sight, but we probably should have had another goal. Look, bless his cotton socks and all that. Antonio, I've been his biggest fan over the years, but I think yesterday, you know what? We've been saying that he hasn't been getting chances. He hasn't been being given opportunities. Yesterday, he probably had more chances to score yesterday than he has in the last 6 or 7 games, and he fluffed his lines, and that's the problem. That is the problem. We know. Look. You made a video earlier. We know his limitations. I'm sure he knows his limitations.
Yeah.
And yes, going forward, he's going to be an impact player, I would imagine. What with Ings being probably the main striker now, and/or Skamaka. So look, it's a disappointing end to the game, but another window closes, and we've just got to concentrate now and obviously stand in the Premier League and maybe a little bit of a run further on in Europe. But I was happy with the performance overall.
Yeah, no, I was. It was just a heartbreaking way to lose it because that 3-1 definitely flattered Man U. They didn't deserve that fucking scoreline. No way.
100%.
What about yourself, Luke?
Yeah, just to let people know, I'm obviously on the network. That's my main posse, if you like. But I did a video last night after a few sherbets, and I made my opinion there. So if you want to go and see it, it's on the West Ham network. Just go and find it. You'll see my face there, my beautiful face, and it'll be all there. But just while I'm here, I was overall gobsmacked with the performance, actually, because I really didn't think we'd go at it, especially from the first minute, and give them a game. And I know that once Casemiro come on and he scored the goal and it was disallowed, we went back into our shell, but I think it's because of the way we've been playing for so long now that because of the Forest game and because of this game, I was like, the West Ham that Moyes had 2 years ago is back, and it's not a team that is, go out and win every game. It's just all you ask for as a fan, to me, is go out 100%. Just try and give it some. You might lose 3-0, but at least you give it some. And I really didn't expect the team we put out. I didn't expect the approach, the system, the tactics. Everything was like, where's this been the last fucking 15, 10 games, whatever you like. Finally, we're getting somewhere. We're getting back to the old West Ham that we've been loving over the last few seasons. And every player for me played their part. Obviously, again, it's made 2 mistakes. Antonio's missed 2 chances. It's West Ham. It happens. It is gutting. But overall, I couldn't have been happier with that. And I was proud. I was a proud West Ham fan after the game because all you had was effort. We played some good football as well. That's the thing as well. It's not just effort. We played some good triangles. There was players were running around. They were tackling. People, passing a move. You name it, it was happening. So it's going to lose it. I think the scoreline 100% flattered them. But overall, unlucky West Ham. We move.
There's positives to take out of it. I think it was a positive performance. We gave Man United a good game. The scoreline didn't reflect the actual game itself. I think we were the better team for the majority of that game. And look, I suppose you could look at the positive. The positive is we are fighting in a relegation scrap at the moment, and now we've only got 2 competitions to focus on. Yes, it would have been nice to have progressed in the FA Cup, but the positive you can take out of that is we've played well against a good team. And now we can concentrate more on, that might have been a bit of a distraction that we didn't need, even though it would have been great to have progressed. But in our current situation, it probably isn't the worst thing, is it?
I'll get your point, but I know what you're saying. But
I know. But I'm sure we're going to go on to talk about this in a bit because my initial thoughts, because it completely took the wind out of my sails, to be quite honest, when the game went the way it did, because I was very pleased with it. I thought we were playing so well, but then once Ten Hag started making tactical tweaks, it weren't just personnel changes. He brought Casemiro on. He started to adapt the game, and this is what good tacticians do. They assess the game, they assess weaknesses, and then they change things to mitigate against what's going wrong. David Moyes doesn't really react, and I do think that he made one awful change, Luke. And I've actually watched this back, and I didn't think of it last night. And the worst change that he could have made was Pablo Fornals coming off, because that guy was ratting around all over the place on the right in central midfield. They couldn't handle him. He was pressing them. He was right in their faces. The minute he went off,
The energy levels left.
the energy
on that
levels
side.
dropped.
Yeah.
Is
The
it a
minute he
bit
went
like
off.
when Forest took Shelby off on Saturday?
Yes, it was
Is it
one
that
of
kind of
those.
thing?
It was one of those.
Yeah.
And that was a bad fucking decision, wasn't it? From Matey boy. What's his name?
No.
Cooper.
What's the Forest manager's name?
Cooper.
Steve Cooper.
He's a weird looking fucker, isn't he?
Come from you.
Do you know? You could see it was so funny, right? He was so funny when you saw him sitting on the bench towards the end of that Forest game. You could see he knew he'd made a massive fuck up, didn't he?
Do you know?
It was brilliant.
Do you know the thing about him taking Fornals off, which was odd? Fornals don't play Premier League football anymore, hardly, does he? He gets
No.
like 10 minutes here and there. So I didn't really understand the change. He doesn't need a rest, and he was
No.
playing well. I don't really get what the point of the change was.
I think in a strange way, it might have been Moyes going, I'm going to prove to the fans that I can make attacking substitutions. So I'll take him off. And I'll bring Bowen on. Did he bring Bowen on for him? I think it was.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It didn't work.
It was, no, because that's the kind of thing of going, well,
But
But
in the same breath, Nick, as much as you say proper tacticians or whatever, look, Ten Hag's a modern day manager, right? So he's got more going for him long term. And also, when you bring Casemiro, Rashford on, who else did he bring on? That does make a difference. Whether you change tactics or not, you bring on players of that quality, it's going to have an adverse effect for us.
I agree, but
it starts burning the screw. You know what I mean?
I agree, but Moyes didn't do anything to counter what he did.
No, maybe not.
Not
Maybe
really.
not,
And just going back to where are we? So if we go back to the game last night, I can't remember who the subs were. So just picture yourself before we move on to the questions. Right, we're 1-0 up. This is actually, I've nicked this off of Jack Elderton. This is a question that he asked on the on Twitter. We're 1-0 up. They've just had their goal disallowed. Casemiro scored. They've just had their goal disallowed. They're getting on top. They're growing into the game. You're David Moyes. What do you do at that point?
Whoa.
With the players that you've got available, bearing in mind you've got Jared Bowen, Flynn Downs, Tilo Kehrer, Lanzini and Scamacca on the bench as viable options.
It's a tough conundrum because you either try and shut up shop or you bring on players to counter it and attack again. And I think it is a difficult conundrum, mate. I don't know what I would do in that situation.
I know what I would do, but go on.
What would you do then?
Right, well, Garino made the point yesterday, and this feeds into removing Pablo Fornals. The reason we were so good and we were so in their faces was because we were pressing Man United. You know, like we were against Forest, we were pressing, which is something we haven't seen all season. It's good to see, but when you're left with the likes of Thomas Souček, Antonio, you're left with cloggers. They're pressing you. They're coming onto you. All of a sudden, they're getting the ball. They're making things happen. When you do break down play, you need to be able to retain it. Garino made the point yesterday that he would have kept Fornals on and brought Lanzini on because what you need is when you win the ball, you need to all of a sudden
keep it.
You need to keep it and start making use of it. The direct play all of a sudden wasn't working. So that's what I would have done. And if you, I saw a stat on Sky Sports. I mentioned this the other night as well. And I didn't even know this, but per 90 minutes, Lanzini and Fornals were in the top 10 in the entire Premier League for pressing per 90 minutes. That's so. Not only are they good on the ball, they do press as well. But
what are they judging it on? They hardly get any game time.
Yeah, no, it's per 90 minutes. Is what? Well, no. Fornals does. Fornals got loads of game time last year. He got plenty.
This year or last year? This season?
No, that was for last season. So obviously, and Lanzini got a fair bit of game time last season as well. So
last season, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I think maybe he could have gone a bit of a different route. We did seem to regress, but then, like you say, that's probably a natural regression because all of a sudden they're pouring at you, they're flying at you. They've got Rashford, Casemiro, some player, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know. I prefer Souček.
Yeah, he's amazing. But what about you, Luke? What would you have done at that point?
To an extent, I think it's fine saying you'd bring on personnel here, personnel there, but at the same time, if you're going to bring on the players you've got on the bench, it's funny, without the team we've got, the person we've got, they've always got their own systems they play in. So you can't bring one off for the other, and you can't put one here and there because they all need a support or they need a lone thing. So bringing Lanzini's on is probably a good idea. But at the same time, you probably need a battering ram like Soucek to keep going in and winning the headers that Lanzini won't win. There's so many things that you could do, and there's also nothing you could do because there is also that mentality of let's not change anything because it's going well.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you go, this is going so well, but yes, we need fresh legs. Yes, we could freshen up a little bit. But you know what? The longer we hold this on, actually, the best thing we could do is not make any subs because we've got that. Once you start changing things around, different players come on. They have different instructions, everything like that. And no matter what you do, sometimes it doesn't. It's a momentum thing. You can have the best players in the world, but suddenly, if ball goes over the top, long ball, and someone heads it in, doesn't matter who you got in the field.
Yeah,
you've been done over by a long ball. So I think what your point is great. There's probably 4 or 5 things he probably could have done that he didn't do.
Yes.
Which
Look, he doesn't do. His in-game management isn't great. It never has been, But what I will say in his defence is I think every single one of the Man United goals came from an individual error that you can't really mitigate against.
No.
You can't. I mean, it was an absolute clusterfuck, really, defensively.
Johnson had a bit of a 50-50 game for me because I think he let Garnacho too much space at times.
That was a third goal though.
And then recovered. No, well, the third goal was the Fred goal, wasn't it? That was one of Gerd mixed up on, and he didn't.
That was Garnacho, wasn't it? The third one.
Ben Johnson is one of the best. He's a great recovery.
Yeah.
No, but what I mean is he's a recovery defender.
He can allow them to have the space.
He does. He does give the ball away a little bit, and he does sometimes get out of position. But his recovery is so quick that he often gets himself out of trouble. But it's not a great. It's also no coincidence that Garnacho really grew into the game and got more dangerous once Fornells went off. True. True. I was surprised by the Fornells sub, if I'm honest. But
it's the one time that Johnson let Garnacho have some space and he punished it. But there's the Gerdon goal.
What, the goal?
For the Garnacho.
For the Garnacho goal, yeah.
But I wasn't really sure with Areola there. He sort of fell to his knees rather than dived, but that's another story.
Half-handed it, didn't he? He was like,
I'm not really sure.
But that all stemmed again. It stemmed from Areola's shanked clearance. It all came from that.
Aguirre, do you mean?
Aguirre, not Areola.
He hit it straight to someone. I can't think it was.
Strange player, but good.
I don't know. I'll tell you what. He made almost as many mistakes as Tilo Kehrer has in 30 minutes of football.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see if he does recover from that. Because what I didn't like, not I didn't like, because look, it might be part of his character. He just didn't recover from having that first mistake. He fell to pieces. His arse fell out. That's always a bit of a worry, really.
But it all came at a time when they was on top. He made a fuck up. The goal between him and Areola. I mean, me and you had a bit of a debate about who was to blame for the own goal.
Yeah.
But it all came, and he was like a rabbit in the headlights for that moment because their towels were quite obviously up, and he just couldn't. There was no time for him to recover because it was just all out on us. So he didn't have any breather. Do you know what I mean? So
no,
he'll be all right. He'll come back from that.
He will. Right. Well, look. Shall we? Let's put that to bed. Let's go to the first question. We'll do our only audio question that I've got. Hang on 1 minute if I can find it. So, and this is from Sam, who's left his name this time.
Sam Oakes.
Think so.
Did want his full name read out.
How you doing, lads? My name's Sam from Basildon, and I've got 2 questions for you. Or say questions, more I want to see your opinions on it. Do you think Emerson done enough yesterday to show that he can actually play at left back? Because I thought he looked pretty decent, and a lot of people think he's just a wing back, but I thought he done all right. And the other one, what do you think about if we played Benny as a number 10? Because I think it'll work out, because what I've seen of him with him and Paqueta, they do link up really well. Right. Cheers anyway. Have a good one.
Cheers, Sam. Right, I'll go question 1. Go to you, Luke, for the Emerson one.
He's better than Creswell. I've lost all faith in Creswell as a left back. He got to the point where over the last 2 seasons, the only thing he was good at was deliveries and set pieces, and he's not even good at that anymore. And this kind of goes on the point I think you were making earlier with long-serving players getting abuse, or the loyalty from fans goes when they start to come to the end of their careers. And I don't hate Creswell at all. You know, I just feel that, like, he is almost a part of the old West Ham. Like, we tried to become the new West Ham with going through Europe and going to semi-final and stuff like that. And his mistakes in the Europa League campaign highlighted where he was sort of like, he wasn't up to the standard of that level.
No.
So I can understand him being dropped and coming out of the team and other players coming in. For me, personally, our best left back is Ben Johnson, funnily enough. I think I don't really remember him having a bad game at left back. Considering he's played nearly every position in the defence since he's been at West Ham. But last night, this is the thing, this is the classic thing with West Ham, is that when we play well, everyone plays well. So you tend to go, everyone was brilliant, but I got to play like this every week because no one's had a bad game. So he probably did look good because our momentum and our system and our approach to the game was very positive, and it was probably positive for him, so he could go and attack and defend as he liked, and as it called for it, and he was probably really good. I understand the left wing back argument, because possibly Saval's been a really good left wing back, but he hasn't had to worry about defending as much because he can just get forward as soon as we win the ball back. So for me, Emerson is a very good player to be in the Italian national, setup. You have to have something about it, especially considering they won the Euros, not long ago. I think he's a really, really good player. I don't think he's ever really had a bad game, particularly for West Ham.
No.
And we are going to need left backs, because I can see, Johnson will play there, or Creswell might play there like he did when he came on the other day. But for me, Emerson, more than happy to keep him at left back, left wing back.
I think he was brilliant. To be quite honest, I mean, we haven't. I don't think we've actually seen him really at left back, have we? Not in a 4. I don't think.
Just get to put him there.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he was good. I don't think there was there was nothing wrong with the performance, and I think Johnson was fantastic at right back. And for me, when everyone's fit, I think the right back's got to be Johnson, and the left back's got to be Emerson moving forwards. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But on to Sam's point about Benny in the.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't round that one. Did I?
Playing in the 10, John. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, we saw them play at length yesterday together, Paqueta and Ben Rama, and I think that Ben Rama, it could be said that to some extent, often he's lost his way at West Ham, and I think if he's playing at number 10 with Paqueta behind him, and there's that constant interaction, constant link-up play, I think it will only breed more confidence into him, because he's most definitely a confidence player. So yeah, why not? Number 10, 100%. And if he could hit the target a little bit more like he did last night, then he'd get a few more goals. Oh, great finish. But yet you don't do it enough. And I'm not. That's not criticism. It's just obvious. Everyone says it, but there's no doubt that on the ball, when he's on fire, when he's in confident mood, he's better than most at that role for us. Probably one of the best. But it's always going to be whether he's going to get that, given that go under Moyes. I don't think so. I think Moyes is happy with the 3 that he's playing at the minute in the middle, Paqueta, Rice and Sušić. You're not going to see it a lot. And to be honest with you, at the moment, I know he can do that role, of course, but I just like seeing him in the same team as Paqueta, because they will link up no matter where they are.
And he kind of did drift inside yesterday anyway. He was doing that. He was jinking inside. He almost felt like a little bit like he had a bit of a free role. He was doing what he wanted to a degree.
I'm not sure he was given a free role, but I think with him, once his confidence is there, once these little tricks are coming off, and he's got someone on the same level in terms of Paqueta, I think it just enables him to sort of be a little bit more free flowing naturally. He's confident in his ability to get around the pitch a bit more, because he doesn't feel like he's just got to. When Moyes is on him, as we know he has been in the past, he just hugs that touchline and literally don't move, almost through fear. But when he's playing well, and he knows he's playing well, he seems like he moves around the pitch freer, and he takes the shackles off himself. I don't think he was given a free role. I just think his confidence enabled him to feel freer.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant, and like you said earlier on, that the link up play between him and Paqueta, they are certainly on the same wavelength, aren't they? You can see it.
I mean, we've always said we'll Moyes play them two in the team together, and hopefully after watching that last night, he will.
Yeah, hopefully. Right, onto the first question. I don't know who this is from. You haven't left your name, so you'll have to fill me in the comments afterwards. Hello, Nick. I hope you're doing well. My Boozecast question for you all is: do you think it was a benefit going out of the FA Cup to Manchester United to focus on our league and also European adventure? Of course, winning on Wednesday would have been amazing, and also to beat Man United. But I think this gives us a chance to now just focus on the two competitions, and also it will help our players play a couple less fixtures. I think we have a really good shot at the Conference League. I want to see what you all think. Thanks, guys. Have a good show. John. Know what your answer is going to be.
Well, yeah, you know what my answer is going to be. I look, yeah, retrospectively now, it could be seen as a good thing.
Yeah.
But for me, winning breeds confidence. Confidence brings wins. The only positive we can take from that, Luke said it earlier, because the performance was that good, they can still take confidence from it, hopefully. And the defeat, although the defeat would have left a lot of the players very disappointed as the fans, hopefully they're not going to sort of have their tails between their legs, and it won't really have the effect that that the scoreline, if you didn't watch the game, you know, if it was a normal 3-1,
it looks like a battering, doesn't it? And it wasn't.
Yeah, and so yes and no. For me, I always think you should go in to win all games, no matter your standings. Yeah. And look, I've said it all along. As worried as I've been, I still don't, and I have never really felt we're going to go down. I've always felt we'd survive. And I know you've got a different aspect, a different mindset to that about the old Thursday, Sunday football coming back in. But
it worries me, yeah.
It does worry you. I get that, but you know, we've done it over the last 2 years, or the last year. I would like to have gone through, most definitely. I would like to have got through to the last 8, because I just think the winning mentality is what the club need. Look, we saw after the Forest game, we know how poor Forest were, and I'm sure the West Ham players were like, wow, these were poor.
Yeah.
But you saw the look of euphoria on their faces with that win. And I think when they're in a desperate situation and when they're sort of backs against the walls, when you get wins, you're going to feel nothing but jubilation, you know, more often than not, and more than usual. So I get it, why it's good we've gone out, but no, I'd rather have gone through.
No, that's it. What about yourself, Luke?
I think to an extent it's almost like a bit of a win-win, because if you win,
that's how I feel. That's how I feel.
You go through, and you have momentum and all sorts of stuff like that. You can always remember. But then there's also the side you go, well, you know what, we're out now. We've got some time to rest and recuperate, and it's one less thing to worry about.
Yeah,
I'm the sort of person. I'm an all or nothing sort of person, and I actually support the wrong team for my mentality. Because if it was me, we'd be going for the quadruple every year. We'd be going for the League Cup, the FA Cup, Europe. That's just the way I am. I hate being knocked out of competitions. But put in perspective, I think, you know, last year we almost got knocked out by Kidderminster until the last minute. And last night we got knocked out by Man United away. You know, there's few and far between. But I know what people are saying about, you know, let's go for the two competitions. The funny thing is now, this is the crux of it, is that now everyone's going, well, we'll win the Conference League now because we've only got two competitions to worry about. Thinking, well, but if we don't win the Conference League, then everyone's be going, well, we should have gone for the FA Cup. So
the Conference League is easier to win on paper, though, isn't it?
It is.
Saying that, Nick.
I do
on
understand.
On paper, it is, John. Look at the teams that are left in the FA Cup versus the European one.
But Nick, this is what I'm kind of making me laugh, really, right? Because West Ham's first European adventure, shall we say, since the Intertoto Cup or whatever, was last year. We've never really experienced Europe before as a club, and when we did, we got knocked out very early in the qualifying stages. And suddenly we're all going, it's the easy competition to win. I think people are underestimating This
Yes.
league, it's.
I'm not saying it's easy,
I'm
but
not-
the FA Cup really ain't easy.
But this is what I'm saying. It's two sides of the coin. So last night you had Grimsby beating Southampton away from home.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in football. Now we're going away to Cyprus, right? It is almost turning into a national stage kind of game because they're wanting to move the game from their home ground to the national Cyprus ground because the fixtures build up the prestige, right?
Are we playing again? Savlaki FC, innit?
AEK Larnaca.
Larnaca.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's being treated as a piss up because it's INAPA, so the fans are going to get their holiday that they're going to love out there. But at the same time, we're thinking to ourselves, Cyprus team, we'll see them off. Yeah, the atmosphere is going to be rocking. They're going to want to beat us because we're a Premier League team.
Yeah.
No, where we are, we're a Premier League team. But this is the thing about football. It is never won on paper. Last night, West Ham should never have been 1-0 up to the last. Man United had just won the League Cup, pissed all over Newcastle in the final, and suddenly they're coming and playing us, and we're going and beating them 1-0 until the last 15 minutes. Football, you can never make it.
This is a different level though, Luke. They're shit.
Yeah, but Nick, you're
They're shit. They are.
Nick, okay, this team, we should beat this team 100%. But
Yeah.
after that, like you're sort of saying that the Europa Conference League's easier to win. I mean,
I'm not
most of the
discounting
teams.
it. I know you got Villarreal, you got Lazio, you've got Fiorentina. I know there's a few good.
Fiorentina,
FC Sheriff.
You've got Basel, you've got Nice. You got Nice.
I know.
That shit.
But they're all middle lane teams. You ain't coming up against Man
They've
City
got
or Man United.
They've got Nick. All of them teams, even that Sheriff lot, have got more European pedigree in recent years than us. They are in Europe every year. Basel are in the Champions League every year. So no matter what you think,
so they participate.
West Ham ain't on that level in European, mate. In European formats, we're not.
Listen, John, I don't think we're going to win a cup because you know why.
Because David Moyes don't win cups.
He don't win cups. I'm not sitting here saying we're going to win the Europa Conference League because I don't think we fucking are. But I'm saying we've got more chance of winning that than we have the FA Cup.
No, we hadn't.
Yes, we have. We have. Oh. Mate, the last time we won the FA Cup, we was born.
You was what?
Well, it was 1980, wasn't it? Well, no, you was 78, weren't you?
I was born in 79, mate, yeah. I saw it. I remember that game.
78,
game.
78.
Yeah, I remember that game. 79.
Can I just thinking back to it, actually, the FA Cup draw, who would we have got? We've got Fulham at home.
Fulham at home.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, see, that's not easy. To be fair,
no, you got Brighton. Then you got Brighton that's still in it. You got Man City.
To have my opinion answer the question, I am gutted we're not through. It's not. I'm glad we're out, so we can concentrate on the league and the Conference League. It's more right. Let's fucking concentrate on the league and the Conference League because it's all we've got now. There's no excuses anymore. If you want to win, if Moyes wants to win a trophy, which apparently he does,
I'm sure he does.
You've got to fucking go for it now, mate. It's interesting though. It's interesting because this makes me laugh. So last season, I don't know how you two boys feel. It's a bit of a side note, but Liverpool won the domestic cup double, didn't they?
Yeah.
And for me, it's still a massive thing. But they were taking a piss out of because their hope is the Champions League and the Premier League.
But that's because they're Liverpool, though.
I know, but what I'm saying is, it's like, you know, it was only. I'd say 10, 15 years ago that the cups were still taken.
Yeah.
Chelsea, Man United finals or whatever. And to me, it's almost like they're waffled, they're watered down now. So now, you know, the teams maybe like the, I don't know, 5th place team, 6th place. It's like, oh, yeah, it's their cup. They can go for it.
Yeah.
I'll
say I'm going to ask you both a question now. In terms of the cups that you've got. If you could pick a cup if you could have picked a cup for us to have won, the FA Cup or the Europa Conference League, what would it be, John?
FA Cup.
Same for me. FA Cup all day long.
FA Cup because of the history of it, isn't it?
I'm probably the more modern football demographic.
Oh, mate, there's no history in that fucking competition.
It's not about history.
It's a made-up competition.
It's not about the history.
Well, they all have to start that way, Nick, don't they? They all have to
Yeah.
start as a made-up competition.
I know, but it's literally like the third tier, isn't it? It's like the auto windscreens cup of European football.
No, it's like the Carabao Cup of the Premier League. Isn't it? It's like the Carabao Cup.
I think because of how 2006 went, I'd have probably rather spun the FA Cup just to say we've won it.
100%.
But at the same time, West Ham being a European champion in any shape or form.
Yeah, but can you call yourself a European champion though?
Yes, you
Well,
can.
Roma, listen,
Exactly.
Nick,
Thank you.
Nick, remember,
Jose
Mourinho celebrated it, and
tears.
the city of Roma, the fans of Roma celebrated for days, right? And they're a big club.
Listen, we'd celebrate. I'd love to win a cup. If we win it, I'll be happy.
How long for?
But we ain't gonna win it, mate. We're not gonna win a cup. We're not gonna
Hang
win
on
a cup
a minute,
under
hang on
David
a
Moyes.
minute.
David Moyes has kept his job.
I will eat my flat cap live on air if David Moyes wins us a cup.
I reckon if we win that cup and Moyes parades it around the stadium, you will.
Can I just put
David Moyes holding the trophy for you, Nick.
I know it'd be crying his cornflakes.
Moyes ball for the next 10 years. Fuck me.
If you eat your hat on YouTube, you will officially be the second person to eat their hat because Alf has already done it on our channel about 2-3 years ago.
Oh, is he? Oh, right. He
The
actually ate his
funniest thing
hat.
ever. I'll try and find it.
Ate his hat.
Yes,
Yeah.
in his mouth and chewed it. So I'm gonna just find it and I'll send it to you boys later.
I won't chew it. I'll eat mine. I'll shovel it straight in.
Big enough hat.
Yeah, I know. Big enough mouth. Right. Okay, next one. We've got Just George. With next to no club takeover, talking to press, how much will Sullivan keeping the club affect us this summer? I believe it will severely hamper our managerial search, and sorry to be negative, but see possibly a similar season to this one, especially as there is no guarantee we will find the right replacement for Declan Rice. Everyone smash that like button and help the channel grow to what it deserves. Absolutely, Just George. Thank you very much, mate. Luke, I'll go to you first on this one.
Just George, the Claret and Booze publicist, apparently.
Yes.
No, it's, I must admit, it's a fear of mine what's going to happen this summer because I thought we was on the verge of this thing that's been talked about the last 4 years, that 2023 is indeed the year that they'll finally set up that Kretinsky was going to take over. And apparently, rather naively, I believe that apparently Kretinsky is not interested at all in taking over. He's an investor. He invests in clubs. What he's in fact done is said West Ham are a Premier League club on the up. This is when he took it. This is when he said, I want to put, if I'm going to invest in clubs, I want West Ham to have my biggest chunk of investment. And then I think the media have run with it and gone, well, that makes sense that he'll take over. And then said, no, Kretinsky it doesn't do takeovers, doesn't do managing.
It's an investment.
Here's a chunk, make that rise for me, and that's all good. I've been putting out there recently that
It's gone well for a minute.
I would love West Ham to hire and take a risk in their view, maybe, and hire a manager like Will Steele, young manager, up and coming, who wants to prove themselves, who will play modern football, all that malarkey. But I don't see Sullivan as being that innovative. I don't think I don't see him as being that intuitive to modern football, and we to put it into a certain way in an easier term, we are the exact opposite of Brighton or Brentford. We are the market stall outside a supermarket.
David Sullivan would rather recruit a failure from above than a success from below.
See, with me, I think they've got ridiculously lucky with the way that it went last season and last 2 seasons with David Moyes.
They never planned for this to happen.
No,
they didn't.
They gave him the job because they sacked him last time and got Pellegrini in. So as a round of trust, they went, right, we'll give you a chance now to go and build it. And fair enough, he did. But out of nowhere, I don't think anyone expected that, even David Moyes. And lo and behold, this season he's been given a decent team and doesn't know what to do with it. That's where everything's gone downhill, in my opinion. But I would like to think that as the season comes to the end and we find out how far we go in the Conference League and make a bit more of a name for ourselves, or if we stay in the league and we start to do better, things will pick up. People will become more interested in taking the club over. I mean, look at Newcastle. Newcastle, look at where they are now compared to where they've taken over, and no one thought that Mike Ashley would ever sell. And suddenly, out of nowhere, these Saudi Arabians come over and they took him out of the dock list, and they're trying to put him in a light. So, I would like to think that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but the more it goes on, the more the reports are coming out.
If we get relegated, then they won't be selling out. We'll be stuck with Sullivan for the foreseeable, because he won't sell us at a loss. So he'll ride it out for a few years until we're back up there again. That's all he'll do. But John, to answer the other point, he mentioned to see possibly a similar season to this one, especially as there is no guarantee we will find the right replacement for Declan Rice. Is that a fear for you as well, if and when he does move on? And how important has Declan Rice been for us? For instance, over the last 2 years, would we have got...
Your own question.
But what I mean is, over the last 2 years, how important has Declan Rice been? Would we have got anywhere near Europe without Declan Rice?
No, of course not. Ridiculously important. The most important player in the last 2 seasons for me.
Yeah.
Because he has been the pivot of everything that's been good on the pitch. Is there a replacement there? I think Downs was seen as the cheap alternative replacement for him. Whether or not that's ever going to materialise, I don't know.
I don't think he is, mate. I think the more I'm looking at him, I don't think he ain't a Declan Rice replacement.
No. But what I'm trying to but we're only ever seeing him there playing out of position again. So another player being played out of position. But what I'm saying to you is you won't see him play the Declan Rice role until Declan Rice is gone. This is the thing. You're never going to see that. And I think he was probably brought in as the cheap understudy or the cheap alternative to that. Because, look, at the end of the day, you can never replace somebody like Declan Rice. The only way we're going to replace him is if we get a player plus, if City came in and said, we'll give you 50 million and Calvin Phillips, maybe Calvin Phillips could be an apt replacement. Although since he's gone to City, I think he's obviously gone downhill. He's not playing. So it's a different scenario now. But look, let's not, and I think most fans... I know he gets a few pelters recently and he's done some things that maybe a lot of fans haven't been appreciative of. But the importance of him, for me, has been phenomenal. He has gone off the ball a little bit lately. I don't think that's anything to do with money, club, greed, wanting to move. Because at the end of the day, if he's put himself in the shop window like he did with that interview at the camp, he ain't going to suddenly down tools and not be playing well. He's going to want to keep playing well. He just can't be superhuman all of the time, and he has been for so long.
He has been.
Expect 9 out of 10 performances week in, week out.
And the thing is, I think the only way you could replace Declan Rice is not by replacing Declan Rice. It's because what he does is he masks a lot of issues around him. He makes people better around him. Maybe if you strengthened around him, you could mitigate that loss. Yeah. Because if you take him out of that hole where he plays, I think because he's got everything in his game now, and he's got better every year. Well, that's the other thing that's amazing about him, isn't it? He just keeps improving all the time.
Did you hear what Roy Keane said about him?
Oh, fuck Roy Keane. He's still got the amp because he left Ireland.
But it makes no sense, exactly. Roy Keane, I love Roy Keane. I respect Roy Keane. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, but that was a personal agenda. The way
it was a scathing attack. But you know what was behind that, don't you? That was behind him switching from Republic of Ireland to England.
It was. That's what I said.
And he's got so personal. It's ridiculous, right? And he sat there and said, "Oh yeah, I played that role. I scored more goals." Yeah, but Roy Keane, you were playing in a team that were one of the best in the world for about a decade, with phenomenal players around you. Rice, with all due respect to the rest of the team, hasn't had phenomenal players around him all of the time. Roy Keane had Paul Scholes next to him. Declan Rice has got Thomas Soucek, with all due respect.
Did you hear him say it's easy to stand out in a bad team?
Didn't hear that, no.
Well, hang on.
That's what he said. He said it's easy to stand out in a bad team. I thought, fucker.
Nick, he's right to some extent, but it's also easy to go missing. It's also easy to be a shrinking violet and not take responsibility when things are going wrong. And I don't think you can say that about Rice, if I'm honest.
No, look, listen. He's the main player in England's midfield. You know, he's going to be the future England captain. I've got no doubt that Declan Rice will step up and improve his game like he has done with us. Put him in any team, and I mean in the world, he'll be in there. He will be.
He's not looked at though like that when he's in the Indian team. If you see him at the World Cup, people looked at him like he was the little boy in the midfield because it was all about Bellingham. And it was all about...
It's because he ain't the goal scorer.
Right. But it was... So, the difference between it... This is and I tweeted it earlier as well. The only people who know how good Declan Rice is and how much he's worth are the people that watch him week in, week out. You can't have a snippet on Match of the Day. You can't have... West Ham played this and they lost it because, you know, although I really like listening to him on Talk Sport, the Simon Georges of this world are only going to hear Declan Rice on the reports and what they've heard on you know, from results and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But the goal that Declan Rice scored against Nottingham Forest, he will never score for England because he will never be putting himself in that position because he's not told to get in that position. He kind of respects his position in England. Yeah. I think he knows he's got to work himself into it in a minute. But people are going to look at that and go, oh, he's just a sideways and backways. You know, he's another Henderson. He's
more than that.
The only people that will know how good Declan Rice is are West Ham fans. That's it.
But do you not think that's true, John? Because I think that's an issue with the position that he plays in. Because if you speak to any Chelsea fan that's watched them through their recent glory years, they'll tell you their most important players have been Claude Makelele, you know, the water carrier, Kante. You know, without those players, they would not have had that success. They're a massively important part.
But even the player that Luke mentioned there, he's just like Henderson. You ask Liverpool fans how important Henderson has been for that team in recent years. People really, really annoy me when they come out with comments about players like that because those are the sort of players that are happy to do the water carrying, to do the donkey work. They don't care if they're the main man. They don't care if they're scoring all the goals. They're just happy to be an important part of the team. And you know, those players are just overlooked. So
yeah, they are sadly. Right, on to Craven Moorhead. Right, he says, what do you think has changed in the last two games that has seen us perform much better and given us a chance of survival? Is Carer's time up at the club also? He can't even get cup games to play in now. What do you reckon, John? What's changed?
What's changed? Maybe Moyes is back up against the wall more than, you know, and he had to change it ever so slightly. You know, he's took so long to change it and we've all been calling for change. And look, at the end of the day, whether you like him or not, he's managed hundreds and hundreds of games of football. He must know when something's going wrong. But for the stubbornness of him, he didn't want to change it, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
But I do think it all comes from the top. You know, going back to Sullivan at Moyes, I don't really think he's been put under pressure by the board, which means he's not feeling the pressure as much and he's not putting pressure on the players. It's all a knock-on effect.
Well, when he did feel the pressure, look at what happened because that was his last game.
That's what I'm saying to you. But it took that for him to even have a foresight of changing things up. And he hasn't really changed it that much. He just made very few minor tweaks, but it's made all the difference.
It's mentality, John. All of a sudden, we're pressing. Yes. There's stuff like that, you know. It's massively different, I think.
Well, yeah, but it is massively different. But it's very small tweaks in the grand scheme of things. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, it's just being 10 or 15 yards further up the pitch. The Man United game last night, at some points, Thomas Soucek was our furthest player forward when we was pressing.
Yeah.
You know, when I was sitting there watching my boy was going, what's Thomas Soucek doing all the way out there? But, you know, even he was pressing. So
yeah,
it's just feeling the pressure. And I can't believe he hasn't felt the pressure. And he's waited until March to feel the pressure.
Oh, no, it's mental, isn't it? Only at West Ham. What do you reckon about Carer, Luke? Does he sign up?
Just to make the point on why things have changed, I think, just quickly, I think actually it was the Spurs result because he's been playing this five at the back for quite a while and we haven't lost with it. And that's been Moyes' back. You know, if you ask him why you're playing five at the back, we haven't lost. You know, draw to him to win it in many ways. And finally, we've picked a game, a big game, a derby game. And it's like, if all the teams you're going to lose to Spurs in that way after Spurs have conceded like 8 goals in the last, whatever it was, in the 4 goals in the last 2 games. So it's all that, and it's all that, you know, after a while, I think no matter how thick-skinned you are, when you keep getting told and asked at press conferences, is your job up, is your job up, is your job up, it's going to eventually take a bit of a toll, and there's probably loads of things going in the background. As much as I want David Moyes out, I do respect the fact that he changed things around, started it on the Forest when he did put Ings in, after saying that he needs more goals from him, even though he doesn't start him and stuff like that. So it's all into it. Where Kerr's concerned, I do like him, because at the start, I think at the start of his career, he was being called the bargain of the season because we got from PSG for like 10 million, and he was marshalling things. He's got a mistake in him. I think he's rash. I think he's nervous, and that could be all to do with the fact that the way we're playing as a cognitive unit. So he's probably a piece of the puzzle that's, a bit like Aguerd. Look, Aguerd's been called a Rolls Royce of a defender since he got into back into the team, but he's got a mistake in him. As well as he plays brilliantly, he also plays pretty poorly because he's a bit shaky at the back. Bonner was against Spurs. I think both goals from Spurs come from Bonner mistakes or something along them lines.
We don't have a centre back without a mistake in them.
No, and he's
I think also, he's come into the Premier League, and we've been devoid of confidence as a team overall and all that. But also, your team is built from the back, and we haven't really had a stable back four, a consistent back four. We've had injuries to him, injuries to this one, formation changes, and maybe because I was a defender or played defence, but to me, any team, any unit needs stability and needs to rely on each other. And if you're not playing with each other consistently, you're going to find it hard to build that rapport. You can do all the training.
The loss of Dawson, John, as well. The loss of Dawson's been a big thing.
Look, of course, but Dawson's gone. But I mean, you need the back four to be like, this is my back four, and this will always be the back four. With the amount of changes we've had to consistently make, it's going to make a difference to that unit. And I think he's just coming at if he would have come in last season when we was on riding the crest of a wave, he would have shown more confidence. But look, he wouldn't have played that many games for Germany already. There's a player there, obviously.
Of course.
I do think he's a good player. I think what I like about him is he tries to do things well. He tries to pick out passes, and he messes up at times. But I think there's a place for him at West Ham, and he's only young, and he has been asked to play right back, centre back, left back, and one time he got put on. So he's other Ben Johnson in that way, that he's been asked to be playing all these different roles, and I know he has to be adaptable, but he also has to be a bit more common sense as well. So I'd give him to the end of the season, and then I'd see what we're going to there. But there's a player in there, but I think he needs. He strikes me as a bit arm around the shoulder sort of bloke.
I'll give him to the end of the season, Luke, because the next manager that comes in might make good use of him. So I'm willing to wait until the summer. Don't you worry. All them players are going to get clean slates. But what I will say, what Craven said there, what do you think's changed in the last two games? I do think it was all on the Spurs game. And do you know what I think it was? As much as his back was against the wall, I think David Moyes, his master plan at the start of the season, you can see it from his recruitment, it was all about the back three and the wing back system. And I think that was a game where he went, oh, fuck. It don't work.
No.
I think that was a game. That was a game where he realised that he had to change things up personally.
Well, I mean, do you think also that was the game when Rice came out and bemoaned the system?
Yeah.
So that pressure from within, all of a sudden, he's like, "Oh Jesus! Like I've got a little bit of a mutiny here because people are speaking out. My captain's speaking out, supposedly.
Well,
that could have been a bit of the straw that broke the camel's back as well. So that could have been a little bit of a to Rice,
All part of it.
All part of it. Right, next one. So we've got this be an interesting one. Danny Moore, if you was a manager and you had a fully fit squad, question for you all individually. How would you set it out? What shape and formation? Who would you start? And what player would you trust most to give the captaincy to? So imagine now, I suppose, when we're talking about the captaincy, don't worry about stripping the captaincy away from Declan Rice. Think you're yeah, I know.
Sounds like he already has.
No, I'm not saying that, but don't say I'm not going to give it to Aguerd because I don't want to take it off Rice. If you were setting out the team now with the players that you got available, John, who would you? What formation and what would your ideal team be? And who would your captain be?
Well, so if it can't be Rice, it has to be someone else, basically. Yeah,
it can be Rice. It can be Rice, but don't worry. What I'm saying is, don't let the fact that you don't want to take it off of Rice affect your decision.
No, I would have Areola in goal. Obviously, I'd have to because Fabianski's whatever. But I'd have Soufal right back because I think he's been I think he can defend better than he can attack.
Yeah.
I'd have Johnson left back. I think Luke's right. I think he's had his best games at left back. I'd probably have. See, this is where I struggle because I know Ogbonna's old and that, but I think he's done pretty much all right. But I suppose the centre backs would have to be Zuma with Aguerd.
Yeah.
But I think
that is the first choice centre back pairing.
It is, but whether they're ever going to be fit at the same time, who knows? Then I'd have. I'd like to see Rice, Paqueta, and probably Fornals in the 10.
That's what I choose.
Benny on the left, Bowen on the right. What's that? 4-4.
That's it. So you've done a 4-2. That's a lot of 4-2-3-1 formation. You just got to pick the
striker. And I'd have Ings. Over Skamaka, purely because I think Ings, at this moment in time, he's proven Premier League, isn't he? So
yeah, I'd make 2 changes to that, but I'll go last. Go on, Luke. Who would your what would your team be?
Well, first of all, on the captain bit, I did a video a couple of weeks ago where I was sort of slagging off Declan Rice's situation and Declan Rice's captaincy. It's all there for them to see. I still don't take any of it back because every point that I made in the video was how I felt at the time.
That's fine. Let me stop you there then. John, who would your captain be? Just very quickly.
Rice, all day long.
This would be Rice. Okay, fine. Go on, Luke. Carry on. Continue.
Mine would probably be Ogbonna at the moment.
So you would have, if you had a fully fit squad to choose from, you would play Ogbonna over Zuma or Aguerd.
But I should do the team first. You're right. Yeah. Fine. But yeah, no, I would, because for me, he's a leader. Zuma isn't a leader. Zuma's
good point.
So Zuma's not the anyway. I am a bit of a fan of the whole 3 at the back, 2 wing backs, 3 midfielders, and 2 forwards. I play on FIFA when I can. That's the way I like it.
The new one still.
Yeah, well, this is it. Get him in. I actually haven't, especially since you got Ings in, I actually haven't known my full strength team with all the players fit, because I've never had the luxury. I've just seen it on paper. That'd be nice, if we could fit them all in. So I'd probably have to go with something along the lines of Ariola in goal, obviously.
Yeah.
Which has personally been, in my opinion, as a side note, the reason why we've maybe not progressed from last season, because the same old players have kept their places and the new signings weren't embedded straight away like they should have been anyway. I didn't probably have something like Zuma, Aguerd and Ogbonna. And then maybe, probably Emerson, left wing back, or Cornet, left wing back.
Emerson or Cornet? You got to have Emerson. Cornet's a fucking something wrong with him, isn't there? Literally something wrong with him.
You can't tell him who to pick, Nick. It's his team.
It's my team. It's a fully fit squad, mate. Zuma's in my team.
So you can have Cornet. You can have Cornet.
Team.
You can have Cornet left wing back.
Yes, just to annoy you. Yes, the left
Cornet's played more games for Luke than Moyes.
I know. He's already feeling a tweak. You've only just picked him.
Anyway, I will continue. As he stands, he's still here. I'd have Declan Rice, I'd have Flynn Downs as the 2 holding midfielders. I don't have Paqueta as
so you would play a back 3 and 2 holding midfielders? You're David Moyes. Right, hang on.
No, I'm an attacking David Moyes.
Luke Moyes.
But this is the thing, boys. This is the thing. I am a modern, changeable tactician. So I wouldn't have to have this team for the full 90 minutes. I could change it over and develop it as the game goes along.
No. Pick your lineup. You've just said back 3: Zuma, Aguerd, Ogbonna, Deck, and Downs. Right, well, who we got next?
I've got 2 more strikers to go. So obviously going to Skamaka, because he's the main man. This in my book up front. And then I'd have to. Have,
are you playing on the right wing back?
I said Johnson. I said Johnson.
Oh, you said Johnson.
Yes.
Johnson.
What was right wing back?
He couldn't cross the road.
Let's hang on. Yeah. Skamaka. Little Antonio or
3 players to go, Luke. So you can have a number 10 and 2 strikers.
No, it isn't. Yes, Paqueta's attacking midfielder. Then you've got 2 strikers.
So you're going to play Paqueta in a position where we had to move him back from because he weren't shining in the 10.
That's you two, and that's a team managed by David Moyes, not by Luke Bailey.
Okay,
So,
okay, go on.
So, exactly. I will use them right. Educate yourselves, lads.
Works
I
on
haven't
FIFA,
said,
John. Works on FIFA. Right,
if it works on FIFA, fuck it. We've still got a job for my football manager. If it works for him, it works for me.
And you're having Scamacca, you said?
Scamacca and probably Antonio, give it the work rate, and then Scamacca could just finish it off.
No Ings?
No.
Oh, wow.
Listen to what I just said.
This is outrageous.
Listen to what I just said.
Gary.
You're not boring. You're not boring. I will give you that. Come on.
Listen to what I just said. Antonio for his work rate, so Scamacca can finish the goals off. You got two finishes in Ings and Scamacca. You need someone to do the work rate. Paqueta's too busy doing butterfly chips and all that over the midfielders. He's doing his hair in the middle. so someone needs to get that ball and go, right, Paqueta, stop playing it about. He needs to go in the goal, mate. So, yes, that would be my team.
I mean, the only good thing that I remember from Paqueta playing in that number 10 was we started to see a relationship blossom between Paqueta and Scamacca on a few occasions, didn't we? There was some understanding there between those two.
Yeah.
We did see that.
Now you start to understand my ideas, boys. Paul, don't you get in there? Get in there, boys.
But honestly, that's
Nick,
not my team, mate.
Nick,
so you would go. Hang on. So Luke would go Areola, Zuma,
It always happens. It always happens when I come on here.
Ogbonna, Deck, and down. So 5 defenders. He'd go for
oh God, they're not rigid
he'd
defenders.
He'd go for Johnson at right wing back who can't cross the road.
Who's a defender as well?
Who's crossing?
He'd go for Cornet in a full body cast on the left hand side, on the left wing.
Fully fit squad, you muppet.
You did say fully fit squad, Nick. You did say fully
exactly.
fit.
Yeah, but there's some exceptions. Cornet's never fully fit.
No, there's not exceptions. You didn't say exceptions. Small print.
All right. Okay. Right.
Honestly,
I think you need to get back to work, Nick, didn't you?
I know.
Fucking do after this. Right. Break. Less trauma.
But anyway, what I would say, I would go probably very similar to what John did
in the opposition half. No one defending. Goals. Bring it on.
And you went Ogbonna for captain, Luke, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Fuck it.
Right. Okay. Right. So I went.
Chaos.
And he's a leader. You are right. I agree with that.
He's a leader. Yeah. I agree.
He's 86 years old, but he's a leader. I'd go for Areola in goal. Areola in goal. Zuma and Aguero as a back two, obviously. I would go for Emerson as a left back.
Oh, look at me! I've got a left.
I'd go for Ben Johnson out of the players that we've got at the moment as a right back. I would play Rice and Paqueta deep. I would play Fornals in front. I would play Benny on the left. I would play Ings up front. Ooh. And my only, I'd have to play Bowen. I'd have to play Bowen. He's coming. He seems like he's coming back into form a little bit. So we're seeing the Bowen evolve. So I would play Bowen. So my only changes from John's team would be the fullbacks. That's it. I'd play Johnson on the right rather than the left, and I'd play Emerson.
You know, there's a part of this question that you missed out.
What's that?
Is whether they're on the form or not.
Well,
you said Bowen because he came back into form, but you're taking it as a fully fit squad from the start of the season.
No. What I'm saying is I was starting to fall out of love with Bowen because of what I've seen of him this year.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Shit. He's been shit for large portions of it.
There's a major part of this question that's been left out. So they're all fully fit, but no one's in form.
I'm not letting you change your team, Luke. I'm not letting you change your team.
I'm fully aware of my team. My team's good. It's the differentials of the question that's been asked. They're all fully fit, but they've never played football before. They don't know how to kick a ball. So what's
That's it.
Anyway,
I can see why you like Moyes, though, Luke. I can see why you like Moyes.
Right, I'm better than him. I'm better than Moyes. Crack on, come on. Up the ball still.
Next one. Right, Daniel Wakeman. All right, lads. I can't say how much I enjoy your show. Yes, thank you very much, mate. Here we are. I'm definitely aligned with Nick's views as opposed to that dickhead.
Get him off. Cancel the question.
When it comes to Moyes, but do you think Moyes has it in him to use Scamacca alongside Antonio, Ings, or any other striker for that matter, or has Scamacca already had enough, along with many other talented players Moyes has ruined? I mean, look, we've all heard the rumours about Scamacca. For a start, apparently his agency sacked him That's what I read. So he's gone out there finding another agent. The rumours are that Napoli are going to be putting a bid in, but that could just be the Italian press talking. But John, what do you reckon on that? Can you see him playing two up front or
No,
not really? I mean, I can't.
Not. He won't ever do it from the start. He might do it with 5-10 minutes left, but I mean, I know it's a bit of a short answer, but I just can't see it happening.
I would love to see Ings and Skamaka, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course you would. Why would you not want to see that? There's goals there, you'd imagine, but I just think for the system we play and the players we've got, and also when you think about it, because of the players we've got now, I suppose we're sort of overloaded with midfielders and creative midfielders. He needs to try and shoo them into the team. He probably can't find the room for another striker in a way. But even if he could, I don't think he would. He would never start with two up top. I've called it, I used to call 4-4-2 6-7 months ago, and he ain't done it. So
I think we've seen definitive proof that is never going to happen, is it?
No,
it's not going to.
No, I can't see it happening. But whether Skamaka's unhappy or not, I don't know. I mean, what was the point of bringing him on 87th minute yesterday? I don't know. But
he looked completely. He was either unfit or his body language weren't.
He don't want to know. He ain't going to come on.
I know.
He's probably thinking, "Why have I come on 3 minutes left?" I mean, it's pointless.
I know.
Pointless.
I know. What do you reckon, Luke? Would he ever play two up front?
I think he done it once this season, didn't he? That was the last 2 minutes, and he just went.
Yeah, but I mean, from the start, will he ever start a game like that? He won't. Will he?
He's not. It's too much to expect of him. But I said this the other. I think I was on with Irish Tommy on the Western Network. I get the whole wanting the two up front. I get the goals thing, the old 4-4-2. Yeah, but I honestly think football's moved on. But name me another team in world football in Premier League that play with two people up front.
Brentford.
It's all one. Fuck Brentford. Like the one out of.
Hang on. You can't ask a question, get the answer, and go fuck that.
Yeah, okay. And Nick does it all the time. Is it about my team?
Tony and Embuemo.
About 20 minutes shitting on my team because I said what we wanted anyway.
They won't be playing two up front soon when Tony gets banned, will they?
Anyway,
no, they won't. No.
No, he would have bet himself doing it as well. No, he won't play two up front. But to me, it's a bit of an old system anyway, and I think football's moved on in a way. So, but saying that, my 3 at the back system,
5 at the back,
6 at the back because Ben Johnson's the defender as well.
3 at the back. My system had 2, and you can play like that if you play it the right way, if you know what you're doing. But for Moyes, where Moyes is concerned, no, I can't see it at all.
No, I agree. I agree. Right. Gaz Wad, not really a question, but find it shocking that Moyes threw Aguirre under the bus, blaming him for the last 10 minutes of madness. More like him not managing the game, using subs. I don't like the way he throws all the players under the bus, and he never takes responsibility himself. It is shocking. I can't wait for him to leave us. Love your content, lads. Look forward to Friday. Look, I get what he's saying there because we've seen it before. When things go south, David Moyes will never hold his hands up. And look, I can understand a manager not wanting to admit that they were wrong, not wanting to admit weakness, but then don't do it. I don't know why. There's not many managers like him that do hang players out to dry publicly. I will say that.
No,
I don't really agree with it. I don't like it. I mean, the whole world could see that Aguirre fucked up yesterday. Yeah. Probably didn't need his manager coming out and reinforcing that on national TV as well. I think some things should be left for the changing room. Do you agree with that, John?
Yeah, it's quite unusual, isn't it, to call out your players. I mean, managers, listen, in the main, managers are there to protect their players. I mean,
absolutely.
How many times Arsene Wenger never saw anything any of his players ever did in any interview. He would say, "Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't see it." So that was for Luke because he's French. I just find it odd that he should do it. He don't need to do it. As you said, everyone's watched the game. We know where the mistakes happened. It's just he's an old school manager, but that's a very non-old school thing to do because Ferguson, Wenger, the old boys, they would never throw their players under the bus like that. So it's unusual.
No, they
I'm not
wouldn't.
sure if he did it at Everton, and I don't know what he did at Everton.
No.
Things like
No,
that.
well, no. I think he's got form for it. To be honest, I
He
think he has.
shouldn't do it. Shouldn't do it.
He shouldn't do it. And Luke. So, I mean, obviously, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but you imagine your manager, you're playing your 5 at the back or 7 at the back formation. It hasn't worked out well. You've just lost 5-0. Right? Are you blaming the players, or do you think that sort of thing should be kept for the changing room? Do you agree with it? Do you agree that publicly slamming players like that is the right thing to do?
First of all, I'm glad I haven't lost 10-0, so 5-0 is a bit of a win with that formation where that's concerned. Second of all, I didn't even know that he'd done it with Guerrero.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. It's also very ironic because
it's not my fault. Look, it's individual mistakes. It was his fault.
When he done that interview with the that podcast interview, when he was talking about his career and when Ferguson told him, "I want you to be the new manager of Man United," he said he looked up to Ferguson. He says Ferguson was like an idol of his manager-wise and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've been watching. I don't know if you've seen it, lads. I recommend it to anyone. But there's Mark Noble's been doing some interviews with on Ben Foster's podcast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's clips, there's segments. It's not. I can't seem to find it on Spotify. There's segments on YouTube. There's clips on YouTube. And they're asking Noble about best managers he's played with and all sorts of stuff like that. And I think they were talking about Mark Noble, if he was ever manager, what sort of manager would he be? And he was saying, I've worked under a few managers at West Ham, and Allardyce apparently, just as a side note, used to love giving away holidays. Yeah. So he'd say to the lads, right, if you win today, this game Saturday, you're off till Thursday. And
I saw that.
and all the players were rubbing their hands, going brilliant, thinking, no one wants to play football. Your highly played fucking professional. Surely you want it. And then they go. But the main thing was my point is that Foster was talking about his time at Man United. And said that Ferguson always stuck up for him in the press, no matter what they done. Yeah. Always in an interview, stuck up there. Yeah. But then lamented them in the dressing room. Actually, went into them.
That's right. That's what it should be.
Say if he was, say if a player had a poor game, the press would say to him, "How did you think so and so play?" He goes, "I thought he done okay. He done his. Probably wasn't his best game, and he probably knows that himself. But he done his job, and he done what I asked him to do. And he did score today, but he scored last week, and he probably scored against next week. And he go in the change room and goes, "You were shit today. You were shit. You were the worst player on that fucking field. You know you're better than that. Sort your fucking self out. Give him a whack and him walk out the door." Because they said that the players would know that he'd be in the press, talking him up, and they'd be sitting there like a personal thing, going, "Shit, what did I do wrong? Shit, like he's going to come in here, he's going to chuck the book at me," and they'd be scared. They'd be scared of him because they knew that. But they wouldn't have to once they left the changing room, and once they went back onto the training field on the next week, they know they wouldn't have to worry about any reports about them in the media saying. They know that it would all be down to him and him saying, "I was pissed off with you Saturday. It's now Sunday. It's gone. Let's move on."
Yeah, it's just about keeping it in house, and if you know you can trust your manager, then you trust your man, and there's mutual respect. I've never known anything like it like that. I mean, I've never known another West Ham manager to do it for that, and I've never seen any manager.
Would you have any respect for a boss that you had that did that publicly to you?
No, I don't think you would. But the players seem like they have, don't they? Let's be honest, they do seem like they have.
There's been comments, I've read comments that basically said that, David Moyes is doing it because it's a way of getting the players to go, right, I'm now being told in public I've got to up my game, which is quite interesting because the modern footballer, you would think the modern footballer being all mollycoddled and very soft touch, that the one thing that anything said negatively, they get the ego up and they go, I'm not listening to that, I'm better than this, stuff like that. But apparently with that's the way he does it. Apparently he does it in the press.
But he's very selective. There's certain players that are exempt, aren't there, from his criticism. It's
almost like to us mere mortals, it comes across as maybe bullying or something like that. But to him, it's his way of going, right, I've said it in the press now, you've heard me say it, so make it better next week.
I don't agree with it. I mean, every player will react differently to that, and every player has a different personality. Ben Rama, we can see that Ben Rama is a confidence player.
Yes, he's an arm around his shoulder.
No, yeah, exactly. But when he singled him out publicly before, that would be the opposite of a player that you should do that to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he did that to Antonio, for example, I think Antonio would say, so fucking what?
He would.
Because he seems like a bit of a stronger character, but he hasn't really done it to Antonio at all. And he did it to Benny, and he's the wrong person you can do it to. I mean, I'm not sure about Aguerd. I think Aguerd's personality is probably a stronger personality than Ben Rama, he looks like. But yeah, it's not on at the end of the day. It's not on.
Yeah, no, I agree. Right, this is from Didi. Very quick one. If we keep Moyes, which is looking very likely now for this season, do you believe we will stay up and win the conference if we play attacking football and not the defensive bollocks that we was playing? So if basically David Moyes continues playing the way that we've played for the past 2 games, do you think that we'll stay up, and could we win the conference, Luke? Just a quick answer. What do you reckon for that one? Yes,
I do.
Yeah,
Yes, I do.
John.
Yeah, I do, but he's got to stick to the way of playing. If he reverts back at any point now, he's just an idiot.
Can I just go back a very quick point? My one worry is it because we've lost last night. Is that he goes, this is what happens. This is what happens when I play.
No, don't say that.
So we're going to go to Brighton away, and he's going to go, this is what happens.
He better fucking not. I'm going to that one.
So
I mean,
we need to play my formation if we won't lose.
I mean, look, Brighton away ain't going to be easy. We know that, but there's absolutely no point sitting off them, is there? There's no point.
They'll thrive. They're good with the ball.
So,
yeah. So
I hope for your sake, Nick, that we play well, because you're at the game, aren't you?
I know. My answer will be, I'm starting to feel more confident now that we'll stay up. We're not going to win the Conference League. I don't think we will. I hope we do, but I really like my cap. So there's part of me that hopes that we don't.
I thought you said the Conference League was easy to win.
Yeah.
See, easier than the FA Cup.
You keep contradicting yourself. It's either easy or it ain't.
There's no cup that's easy for Moyes because he don't know how to win. Winning ain't what he does.
It's obvious it is.
Al Merian. Right, it says there's been some comments from different sources lately that Declan Rice isn't all he's hyped up to be in the Premier League. E.g., as we've spoken about earlier on, Roy Keane thinks he should be doing more, and that this may well affect his value if sold. Is his value likely to be determined by what he could become by playing in a better team, i.e. what a club is willing to pay, or by his actual performances with us right now? I mean, I suppose I'll answer that one initially. We spoke about this earlier on. Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with his performances, and I think it's his performances that have warranted his value that he's got now. It's nothing else. That's what's given him his profile. Unfortunately, he's not a match of the day player. He's not the type of player for casuals who just tune in to see, your step overs and stuff like that, and your 30-yard goals. You're never going to see Declan Rice, so you probably will think he's shit if you don't watch us play for 90 minutes. But no, I think, as John said, the Roy Keane comments were completely personal, all related to the Ireland thing. I'm not going to take too much from that, and it certainly ain't going to affect his value, is it, John?
Nah, but
Roy Keane
look,
says.
a player's only worth what someone. A player's only worth what someone's going to pay for him at the end of the day. I mean, you got to remember that as much as we slag him off now, Man United paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. So, and now he can't even get into. He's not wanted, is he? At the end of the season, he's going to be off. Rice now is more than a West Ham player. Remember, he's an England international who plays pretty much every minute for England now as well. Yeah. So he's being seen on a different level. He's a different scale. Once an English player has a premium anyway, but an English player that's playing international football, he plays every minute for West Ham. When he's on the pitch, he don't come off. He touch wood. He never gets injury. He seems robust. He's 24, is he? Yeah. He's got another 10 years ahead of him.
Yeah.
His value is based on him now and him what he will become. Even more so once he grows.
Super fit. He never gets injured. He's got everything. The guy.
I mean, people say no, but I still think we're going to get bids in excess of 100 million.
No, we will.
Whether that's with a player swap or something as well. But I genuinely do, because who's the player Chelsea bought? What's his name?
Enzo.
And what they pay for him? They paid
about 100 million.
Yeah, so that set the bar, because if I know Chelsea are wasting money at the minute, but if you're now seeing players of that position pulling in that sort of fee, I think it shows you the importance of that role. And even Casemiro, I mean, they paid a lot for him at 31 years of age. I know he's a different league above Rice, but he's a similar position, and he's 31.
I think that position is highly recognised. It's very important in the modern game.
Yeah.
It's so key in the modern game, you know, that CDM role, and I think it's good that it's finally being recognised. To be honest,
it's so important that Luke's had 3 of them in his team. So. Sorry, Luke.
But go on, Luke.
Yeah, but my first point would actually be, and this is something that people don't really look at in the media when talk about players' transfer fee, is how much the team that he's playing for needs him.
Yeah.
So when Grealish transferred from Aston Villa, he signed a contract to make sure that Aston Villa got 100 million for him at least from the Man City transfer, because he wanted to give him some money and they needed the money as well to go and compensate. So it's not just about how good Declan Rice is as a player, it's how much he's needed by us and how much compensation we need when he actually leaves. I did a video on Declan Rice a little while back. It was a ranty video prior to, I think it was even before the Spurs game or after the Spurs game. Declan Rice's situation annoys me. Declan Rice doesn't annoy me. And it's funny how you put it out there, Nick, that he's not a match of the day player. He's not a... No. He actually is. If you watch Declan Rice play football, he's a exciting player. The way he wins the balls back, the way he's both-footed. The way when he sprays the ball with his left foot from one side of the pitch to the other.
Yeah.
If people actually watch Declan Rice,
but what I'm saying is you don't see the best of him in a 10-minute video clip.
This is what I was kind of getting at earlier. I didn't get my point enough, but he is on his day possibly the best player in his position in the Premier League.
He's the best
by head and shoulders. To me, it will come down to his contract, how long he's got left on his contract, considering what the contract stipulates. And I think he's got 2 years at the end of this year, isn't he? Left on his contract, or something along them lines. So it will come down to, I'd like to believe that whoever's buying him isn't buying him based off what the media talk about him, and isn't what the overall fans thought of him. They do watch in-depth analysis. They do know what West Ham fans see. And they're not buying him based off just what the media say he is, because if based off what the media say, he's worth about 20 million tops.
I think what John said a few weeks ago is bang on now. I think when we was talking about his contract and the option to extend, he's invalid and all that sort of thing, John said there will be a bidding war for him. And the more you think about it and you do look at his ability, I think there will be, because if you look at the likes of Arsenal, if Man United, Liverpool and City see Arsenal bidding for Declan Rice, they're not going to want Arsenal to have Declan Rice. They're not going to want that at all. Yeah, they're not going to want that at all. And that is where you get, because he is that good, Declan Rice will improve whichever team he goes into.
To my mind, he's Real Madrid worthy.
He is.
Do you know what's most impressive about Declan Rice? When you watch him, a lot of the times, obviously a lot of his job, he's just getting a little toe on the ball and breaking up play, right? But he's one of the only players that I've seen who manages to tackle but also move the ball forward at the same time. Yeah. So he's tackling whilst pushing it forward. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know.
So he tackles and he's playing the ball forward at the same time.
It's like he controls it.
It's his body shape. It's the strength of him. He's never very rarely see him on the floor. He's always on his feet, because he just gets the transition moving so quickly. He breaks down the play and he's forward thinking straight away.
He's always one step ahead. I mean, if you look at the likes of Thomas Souček, for instance, who's been playing better lately, but if you look at Thomas Souček's running stats in the game, Thomas Souček will run twice the distance as Declan Rice, but he'll have a quarter of the touches, because Declan Rice he thinks. And he reads the game. Declan Rice is already moving into the position where the ball's going to be played. He just knows where it's going to go.
To my mind, the most amazing thing about Declan Rice is he started off as a centre back, and he made mistakes when he first went to West Ham.
He actually didn't. He started off as a central defensive midfielder at Chelsea. We tried to make him into a centre back, and then Pellegrini put him back in his rightful position.
Fair enough.
He was in the Chelsea youth academy. I found that out the other day, Luke. I found that out the other day. Yeah, but he was a CDM.
You know what, he has had the impact for the last few years, that Alex Song first had when he come to West Ham. On,
He was a good player, wasn't he? He was a good
first thing.
player.
And the reason why is because, and this is something that was talked about the other day with Paqueta, if you're that kind of player, you are 10 seconds ahead of every other player on the field, and you see things. And the trouble is that Declan Rice is used to playing in a team where he is 10 seconds ahead, but no one else is. And Paqueta's now coming into the team with him. He's going, what's going on? Why aren't these players seeing the vision that I'm seeing, that I'm pointing out? So, you know, it's meant to players like them are mad. They're mental. What's their way in goal?
No. Right, last question, and then we're going to wrap up. And this is from Omar Gunny. Right, do you still think that Moyes should go this season? He's talking about, despite the good win against Nottingham Forest, he's not provided the consistency in our play which we all crave. I believe he should have made early substitutions to stiffen the midfield and defence against Man United, I think he's saying. I suppose I'll answer that one first. Do I think Moyes should still go? At this point now, I'm Moyes out. I want him gone. But I think at this point now, I don't know what that would achieve now. I want him gone in the summer. I want a new manager to come in. We ain't got long to wait. We've only got a few months. I think I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident now that he might get enough points to keep us safe. I don't think there's enough league left to bring somebody else in as a disaster recovery manager and expect them to do any better. Not now. They haven't really got any time. And who would we get in? You know, who would we get in now? If it's getting Rafa Benitez in on a 3.5-year deal, or wait 6 months and then we can pick and choose who we want, what would you rather do? I think at this stage now, I would have got rid of him, you know, up to any point up to now. But I think now I'm going to say, at the moment, while things are looking up, I'd stick with him until the end of the season now, probably. What about you, John?
Yeah, I think the conversation's done for me now, because it is too late. He seemingly has got us playing more attacking, even though it is only sort of the last couple of games. If he sticks to his guns now, his new guns, and we pull away from it, then why would we get rid of him there? But yeah, I think in the summer he's probably gone, isn't he? And you know what? For what he done for us, don't care what anyone says, because I'm going to get pelters for this.
Yeah.
But he did give us 2 good years, and it'll be terrible for his legacy, whatever you want to call it. I know people don't like that phrase with Moyes, but it is somewhat a legacy. If he got relegated, it would really, you know, it would obviously ruin his reputation that he built at West Ham, right? And
Well, you would be more upset for David Moyes' legacy if David Moyes got us relegated.
No, not more upset for his legacy. But what I'm trying to say is, I do respect what he did do for us. I do respect what he did for us. Nick wants negative comments aimed at me, Luke. That's what he's doing, right? But I don't care what anyone says. He gave us 2 good seasons. I don't want him to get relegated for the club, of course, but also because it will ruin his reputation. The same as when people were calling out Rice and Ogbonna, you know, saying almost they're not interested in all that. What, you think they want to get relegated in their last season at the club?
I've said it in the past about Rice. That's what my video was about. So I've got to hold my hands up and say I was very negative for that one. I was kind
probably a little bit drunk. Probably a little bit drunk.
No, I wasn't actually. I was completely sober for that one.
Bit negative, like your formation.
No, but Luke. At the end of the day, right? Listen, I respect people. I respect people's opinions, but I can't. I understand football's emotional, but I try and always take a step back from it. Nick, as you've seen, just goes mental, right? But people genuinely think that Declan Rice would want. He knows he's leaving in the summer. We know he's leaving in the summer. It's no secret. He's not going to want to leave as a relegated captain of the club. He's never going to want that.
I'm not saying that's what he wants, but there's. I did explain it more. I forgot the thing now, but it was on the. I'll send you the link if you want to look at it. You don't. If you look at it, you do. You don't. But it was my thing was the situation. It's caused because. For me, Declan Rice, there's things outside of football as well. There's the fact that he was like little things like he's at an awards ceremony giving away awards. Declan Rice goes on these, you know, what's it called, the League of Their Own and stuff like that.
But you know, all these players do that. You know, all these top players.
West Ham have never had a player that do that. So we as fans have never seen a player do that. But the difference is, Luke, is that.
But why is he doing it? Why
because he's a world class player.
Yeah,
and he's a brand, whether you like it or not. He's a brand.
That's part of it. That's part of the problem.
But it's his job.
Why is it a
short
problem?
career. Why is it a problem?
It's a problem when we're performing.
What difference does it make if he's handing out awards?
Because it's more about him. It's more about him as entity of himself.
Do you have a problem? Do you have a problem with Ronaldo and Messi handing out awards?
Well, no, because they're winners and they've won things, constantly won things. And they don't hand out awards; they get awards.
It's extracurricular. He's gone to an award ceremony for half an hour and given an award.
Why is he being asked?
I don't get that.
Why is he being asked?
Would you?
Who have, him or Souček?
What's Souček?
Why is any West Ham player?
Because he's got a massive profile. Declan Rice is our best player.
Because he's agent.
West Ham's the best player. West Ham achieved in West Ham.
Because he's agent. He's obviously got good agents and good marketing.
This is the problem. Is that you've got a team that's fighting relegation, and their captain and best player is going on the League of Their Own panel show, trying to be funny, and doing interviews doing interviews for QC magazine, and never handing out awards. What's all that about?
But okay. I respect your opinion, but do you think by doing that's affected his performances then?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because it's about him. It's about.
Really? You think he's affected his performances?
What performances?
Not performances specifically, but as a captain, the influence he has over the team. So if you're saying, right, come on lads, let's get a win, we want to keep this team up, thinking, hold on.
Yeah.
I think you might have a point. I think you might have a point there when you explain it like that. Yeah.
Why are you so worried about keeping West Ham up? Why would you be? You're off in the summer. You're off in the summer, so what are you worried about? No matter what you do, you're going to be in the limelight. You're in the England team. You're doing media stuff. You know, because
then
honestly, a week after West Ham relegated,
okay. What about David Moyes and his podcasts then that he keeps doing? What do you reckon about them?
He's a prick for doing that as well. That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. I can understand it if it was last season. We were in the Europa League semi-final, and it was all going well, and it kind of made the England team with the Euros and the World Cup coming up and stuff like that. I can understand then it would make sense because he'd be like the golden boy of English football. Not when we're struggling. He's going in the summer. Everyone knows that all you've got all over TalkSport and all the media is where's Declan Rice going to go in the summer? Where is he going to go? There's no mention of him staying.
It's been like that for 2 years.
It has.
That was always going to be the conversation.
That happens when you've got a world-class player.
I know it has, but he's come into a crux so much now because of where we are, and he's not doing anything. All he's done to say, as a West Ham player, is I want to play Champions League football. That's all he's done. Comes out in the media, comes out in an interview after the game saying we should have played better.
Can I say something now, Luke? And this goes back to the video that I did earlier on. Okay, and this is
your video from earlier on, yeah.
No, but there's a point to it, right? So West Ham fans get upset. I'm one of them. But
I know, by the way, I'm in a vast minority. I know I'm pretty much the only person.
But look, what I'm saying is, you know, fans.
I don't hate him for it either.
No, but they expect this sort of die-hard loyalty from players. You know, it's like But look, going back to Antonio, where there's people saying that, you know, he was touting himself around. You know, on podcasts this season. Well, there's been fans on Antonio's back for about a fucking year, 18 months, a long time.
What? Professional football,
but what I'm saying is, how can you get upset when a player wants to leave and go elsewhere? When the minute they're not doing what you want them to do, you go, oh, fuck them off. They're no good now. Get rid of them.
That's professional football for you.
Yeah, but then you can't expect loyalty if you're not loyal to them.
I don't expect loyalty personally. I don't. But what I'm saying is don't make it so fucking obvious when we're down. When you're supposed to be the captain, you're supposed to be leading that team out of the trenches, and you're supposed to be showing a united front.
Listen, I've got a massive problem with what Declan Rice did. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
I didn't mind it,
the England press conference. No, I didn't like it.
I put that. I didn't mind. Because at the time it was like, okay, he's saying what we should all want. Every footballer, it's like almost like an obvious statement, right? What I kind of would have liked him to have said was, I want to save West Ham from relegation before I go and play.
I think he should have just swerved the question. He could have easily ducked out of it.
For me, all I'm saying is it's not particularly to do with what Declan Rice. It's Declan Rice's situation. It's not Declan Rice's situation. It's the fact that you know, we're in the mire that we're struggling, and he hasn't signed a new contract. He hasn't made any kind of initiative that if we stay up, he's going to stay at the club. Right? It's all open in the air. He's letting the media try
if you was Declan, apparently we blocked 100 million move in the summer to Man
Probably.
United. He could have gone in the summer
I
to Man United, right? So what I'm saying is,
Thank you,
he could.
Declan. Thank you for staying.
No,
Cheers, Declan.
but I'm not saying that, Luke. You're Declan Rice. You're not a West Ham fan, right? You're not a West Ham fan.
I know
You're
that.
one of the
I know
best
that.
players in the world. What do you want, Luke? Be honest. Be honest. You're as good as Declan Rice. You can go anywhere. What do you want? Do you want to stay at West Ham?
Right. This is not about what Declan Rice wants. It's Declan Rice's situation.
No, I'm asking you. What do you?
Declan Rice's situation. Declan Rice's situation for a club like West Ham is extraordinary, right? But if and when we ever get any players come through of any quality, they do not stay for any time at all. Because if the club lack ambition, we're always going to lose players like this, right? And he ain't telling us anything we don't already know, right? And to me, sorry, Luke, let me just finish. All these things you're talking about, League of Their Own, giving out awards at Brits, saying things at the England squad in the World Cup, he might be doing all these things. But in my opinion, none of these things he's done have affected his performances on the pitch. No, that's all I'd say.
No, the only thing I had a problem with was the England thing. All the other bits and pieces, giving awards away. And I don't see what difference that makes.
My main the whole problem started actually was when it was the Arsenal game after the World Cup, and he was throwing his arms around and laughing at his players because there's frustration
like
and then there's patronising, and then from then this little seed planted. So no, if I hadn't seen that, right, which he stopped doing that now. So and he replied to a few comments on Instagram. So I presume he's realised that it's not being well received by the fans and stuff, and it's changed, right? So possibly my opinion is less as it was back then, right?
Must be hard though, Luke, when you're playing with some of the fucking idiots that he's had to play with just recently.
You shouldn't be laughing, but Luke's right.
You shouldn't be. No, but what I mean is, it must be difficult when you're a competitor, John. You know, it must be hard.
But that's what I'm saying. He's gone from that England setup where they're all playing to a certain standard, they're all, and he's going into, and it's almost like, right, come on. We've got to be like England now. We've got to be starting playing to it, and it's fair enough. He's probably absolutely right, but there's a certain way to go about it, and that it planted a seed, and the seed is probably a ridiculous seed.
Declan Rice, we're chasing the game. It's 1-0. Declan Rice has come back. He's made another. God knows how many interceptions he's made. Brilliant. He sprayed a lovely ball out to Antonio. We're through on goal. Antonio trips over his own feet and kicks it out. Touch. You're gonna get upset, aren't you?
Of course you are, but
you're gonna get upset.
Of course you are. You are, and I tell you, it was that particular moment, and then that changed my whole opinion of him, the way he was, and it's probably still the same way now. But like I said,
I'm gonna miss him when he's gone. I love him.
So will I. Declan Rice, the player, I have no problem with, because
he has irritated me at times, but I love him.
His performances as a captain are exemplary. It's just the other stuff, and to be honest with you, Antonio's podcast with Callum Wilson pisses me off, because he kind of knows that West Ham fans don't like Callum Wilson because he always scores against us, and he had that magic comment Bournemouth, right? And then also
I quite like that podcast,
and it's good. I do like it. And there's a little thing like when I think it was on Outovich, when Austria played England or something, and Outovich was shaking hands with Noble or Lingard, Declan Rice, and someone else, can't remember who it was now. And all the West Ham fans only went, hold on, and Outovich mugged us off. But the West Ham fans don't like Outovich. Why are they being all pretty? And then Mark Noble came up and went, West Ham, the fans don't always know the bigger picture. And it's like, there is a different, footballers live a different world to fans.
Apparently Arnautovic was loved in a changing room.
Yeah, but he was.
Loved
him. And I tell you, this is another thing as well. If you watch these segments, these clips that Noble has with Ben Foster, you realise.
I've seen a few. They are good.
You realise how much it is a day job to them. They all this thing of us waking up at 6 a.m. and going to a game and all our life.
And Andy Carroll famously said he doesn't watch football.
No.
Yeah.
No, he hates watching football. I mean, I'm just like, what?
Yeah,
he literally does it just as a job. And it does become a job, but interesting. There's a lot of good podcasts out there, but that Ben Foster one is good with Noble. I've seen some clips.
I can't stand Ben Foster as himself. I find him quite annoying, but his podcast itself is quite.
Do you like anyone, Luke? Do you like any footballer?
He loves to eat.
No.
Right, but look, we are going to wrap this up because it's an hour and 40 minutes. So We never keep this to an hour, do we?
Especially not me.
No. We haven't managed to do it yet. I think we done the first one, which was an hour and 20 minutes, and we said, right, next one.
Got longer every week.
Next one, we're going to try and keep it to an hour. It's gone hour and 30, hour and 40, hour and 50.
Yeah.
Keeps creeping up. But that was a really good show. I enjoyed that. Cheers for joining, Luke. It's very good. It sounds like you.
Ask the last question.
What's that?
What was the last question?
I don't remember now.
I think I mentioned that John was halfway through his answer, and I put it in.
Basically, do you think that David Moyes should go this season now, or do you think we should keep him until the summer?
Well, I said he should have gone prior to the World Cup.
Yeah, same here. Yeah,
and I still think that. I respect him for changing it.
I said he should have gone prior to the last World Cup. He wasn't even here.
But yeah, I think Nick, just
Nick, Nick's under pressure himself, man. I don't know if you heard, but he lost his first game of the season last Sunday. So if he loses again this Sunday, he could be given the chop.
First game in 18 months, John.
He's a bit he's under pressure, Nick. You know, so he's a bit.
So sounds like to me it's a 5 at the back coming the next game.
No 5 at the back, mate. I'm going for it. We've got a cup game coming up.
I'm
going home. I'm going for it.
I've seen Nick manage. Oof.
Is it more of a?
Yeah.
Where's the oranges? Where's the oranges?
Steve Cooper.
Yeah.
Shelby, come off.
Right then. Anyway, thank you very much for joining, Luke.
I appreciate it, boys. Thank you for
it was a good show. Cheers, John. And yes, we will see you all at the weekend. We'll see you at the weekend after the. I'm sure we'll do a little show after the Brighton game. Actually, John can do the. You can do the post-match reaction after this one. Do a little.
I'm working Saturday night.
Oh, of course he is. Look.
I promise you I am. I promise you I can do it, but I'll do it late.
No, it's fine. Yeah. Maybe, or we'll leave it to Sunday. We'll leave it to the Sunday. We'll do the review on the booze up.
Are you working or is it going London? I never heard of it, mate.
I know everywhere in London, Luke.
Where's me sat nav?
Everywhere they asked to go. The scenic routes. You know all the scenic routes.
Fifth emergency service, you know that. Fifth emergency service.
When they're not on strike. Oh, sorry. What's it?
Don't invite him on again, Nick. Get Gary back.
Right. Well, look, anyway, we're going to go. Right. Cheers, everyone. And come on your irons.
5 at the back.